Okay. Good morning and Happy New Year. In accordance with Section 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1980 as amended, the meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. My name is Larry Clay and I'll be chairing today's session. Panel members with me are Paul Gogan, Nellie Beauport, Dylan Reed, and Peter Reed. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 of the Mississaugas of the Credit. Committee of Adjustment public hearings are now conducted in a hybrid in-person and virtual format. Some applicants and participants will make submissions in person, and others will participate virtually by electronic means through WebEx. The meetings are also streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may watch on YouTube. Those who want to participate virtually and have registered in advance will be connecting with their computer, tablet, smartphone, or telephone and have the option of participating via video or audio only. All virtual participants will be automatically muted upon entry. When your item is called, you will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called on to speak. Those participating by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to panelists when your item is being held. During this time, your camera will be enabled. You will only be visible during your 5-minute allotted speaking time. At all other times, your video will be disabled and you will be reinstated as an attendee. For both in-person and virtual participants, Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. Those participating through WebEx are not allowed to use share screen or other panelist controls during a video appearance. People attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the Committee on Application must fill out a decision request card, and those participating virtually need to submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address because the Committee of Adjustment and the Toronto Local Appeal Body will be sending notifications and updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision to the Toronto Local Appeal Body or in some limited circumstances, the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. Only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs, specified persons and public bodies are permitted to appeal decisions of the Committee of Adjustment. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. Today, I will call each item in the order they're listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with their presentation if desired. When the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak to the committee. The committee may ask questions and/or take the matter into committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5-minute mark. Any presentation or other materials you wish to submit to the committee must have been emailed in advance of the hearing. Staff and committee members cannot accept materials at the hearing. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address, and please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and make a presentation to the committee on the application. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if substantially revised to ensure the revised application is accurate and that those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes. Then individuals either in support or opposed to the application will be invited to speak. Generally, we first call on speakers in the hearing room and then those participating through WebEx. Committee members may ask questions of the speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the speakers. And this will mark the end of discussions. The application will then be taken into committee for a decision. Madam Secretary, Deputy Secretary Treasurer, do we have any minutes to confirm?
Good morning, Mr. Chair and panel members. For today, there are no minutes for adoption.
Thank you. Are there any declarations of interest of staff or committee? Seeing none, any deferral requests?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I don't see any deferral requests for this morning.
Any files to be closed?
Yes, there is one file. The applicant no longer wants to proceed with the application. The file number is A0714/22TEY. Municipal address is 131 Farnham Avenue. So I'll need a motion to withdraw and close that file.
I have a motion. Mr. Reid, seconded by Mr. Gogan. Take me a minute. All in favor? That's approved. Thank you very much. Okay, we will proceed with item number 1. This is
Or project coordinator.
All good? Number 1, 93 Fuller Avenue, and this is an application to alter the existing 2-story townhouse dwelling by constructing a new front covered porch. The committee has before it a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 3 photographs of trees on the subject property, correspondence from 93A Fuller Avenue, and 1 form letter in support by owners occupants of 91 Fuller.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we only have the agent speaking on this item, so we will unmute.
Thank you.
Company's representatives.
Hello.
Thank you for calling Permit Work.
Hello, Andrew
If you know
Johnson,
the
you have been
extension,
unmuted.
you may dial it now. If you are looking for new project inquiries,
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. If you could give us your name and address, please.
Hi there. My name is Andrew Johnson, the owner of 93 Fuller Avenue. I'm obviously here to talk about the minor variance application for the covered front porch.
Thank you very much. Hold on a second. Panel, does anyone need or want a presentation? Does anyone have any questions of the agent? Mr. Reid?
Thanks, Chair. To the applicant, I'm just noticing you are short in terms of the front yard soft landscaping. And are the pavers that you're proposing in the plan, are those existing or are those to be newly built?
Yeah, those are existing pavers right now.
Okay, thanks.
It's the front walkway to the front porch. Yeah.
Okay.
Are they flagstone? Are they flagstone or are they interlocking?
No, they're just interlocking brick. Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions? Ms. Volper?
Does the amount of soft landscaping on the front yard, decrease, with this project, or does it remain unchanged?
It remains unchanged. Yeah. Right now, the front area, you can see it on the picture there, where it looks like flagstone. That's actually just interlocking brick as well.
It looks like flagstone on the site plan, right?
Yeah, it's like red brick. You can see it.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. Any further questions? Okay. Thanks very much. We're going to be taking this into committee for a decision. Is there anything further you'd like to add?
Nothing for myself. It's just we've designed it purposely so it fits the neighborhood very well. There's a lot of front porches in the neighborhood, and then we have support from all our neighbors, as you can see from the letters of support as well.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. We're in committee. Panel? Comments or a motion? Ms. Volpert?
Bring a motion to approve the application.
Okay. And there are no conditions. So, motion to approve by Ms. Volpert, seconded by Mr. Reid. All in favor? You have your approval, sir. Thank you very much. We move on to, actually, item number 2 is 294 Carlton, but this item has been postponed. So we will move on to item number 3, 77 Wales Avenue. This is an application to construct a new 2-story ancillary building, a laneway suite with a 2nd story and a north-facing balcony in the rear yard abutting the laneway. Committee has before it copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 5 photographs of the subject property, email correspondence from Transportation Services, a staff report from Urban Forestry, 11 letters in support from owners and occupants of 5179 Wales Avenue, 64 Lippincott, 24 Nassau, 160 Augusta, 17 Leonard, 39 and 41 Kensington Avenue, 542, 560 Dundas Street West, and 250 Bathurst Street. There is one letter of correspondence in opposition from 81 Wales Avenue.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent speaking as well as 2 people in concern.
Okay, thank you very much. If we could have the agent, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. If you can tell us your name and
hi.
address, please.
My name is David Footman. My address is 119 Front Street, Colborne, Ontario.
Okay, sir, we have some speakers lined up. If you could give us a presentation, no more than 5 minutes, please.
Yes. Good morning, committee and interested parties. Thank you for the opportunity to explain the reasons for this very minor variance before you today. The proposed building is a laneway suite on a lot measuring 4.45 meters. The new bylaw governing laneway suites regulates a lot width of 4.57 meters. The variance requested is for 12 centimeters of relief. Clearly, that is a minor variance. This is a good planning to build this close to transit. I believe this is part of the provincial plan to intensify cities. And I believe it substantially conforms and is an appropriate development. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Panel, any questions? If we could have the first speaker, please. Oh, I'm sorry, Dylan, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. The notification says that there's going to be a north-facing balcony, but I didn't see one on the plans. Could you just explain that discrepancy? Thanks.
There was concern from a neighbor, and that has been deleted, and revised plans were submitted without the balcony and with the windows sill height above 5 feet, so there was no overlook. So we addressed the concerns of a neighbor.
Okay, thank you. Can we delete the mention of the balcony from the notification then?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Hello, Kim and Claire. You both have been unmuted.
It's Kimberly Hinton at 7, and my address is 79 Wales. And our only reason for being here was to ensure that the balcony had been deleted from the north side of the plan, and to make sure that the windows started higher up. So we're good now. I have one other item, which is there's no address. The plan doesn't address all the cables, either phone or cable, that come from the laneway behind us and go over our buildings, and it would need to these cables would need to go over the top of this building.
Sure, we can certainly ask the agent that, but that isn't an item that the Committee of Adjustment would be responsible for.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, that's it. We can have the agent back.
Good morning. I believe everything is in accordance with the neighbors, and the cables will be dealt with during the permit process and dealing with utilities, I suppose.
Yes, I think that's true. Okay, thank you very much. We'll take this into committee. This is a fairly straightforward application, guys. Anyone? Mr. Reid?
Thanks, Chair. I'm ready with the motion. I think I commend the applicant for having 0 actual built form variances. This is just the nature of the lot, and this is on a street or a laneway that is already really built up. This is a good project. And with the changes that are made regarding the balcony, I think this is fully supportable. So I move approval of the application with the urban forestry condition and with the purpose amended to remove the reference to the north-facing balcony.
Forestry number 3?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, motion by Mr. Reid, seconded by Mr. Reid. All in favor? You have your approval, sir. Leave it to Billy to try and figure out which Mr. Reid we're referring to.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we might want to just refer to P. Reid and then D. Reid.
Thank you. We move on to item number 4, which is, oh my goodness, hold on a second. A little bit of a computer issue. Okay, item number 4, 17 Myrtle Avenue. This is an application to alter the existing one-story ancillary building, which is a detached garage abutting the laneway, by constructing a cantilevered second-story addition to contain a laneway suite. Committee has before it a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, a revised site plan received January 16th, 3 photographs of the ancillary building, revision letter from the agent dated January 17th. Previous decision A0442/23 TUI affecting the subject property. Revised site plans again submitted January 19th, or received January 19th, and another letter from the agent received January 22nd. We have correspondence from Metrolinx and staff reports from Urban Forestry, 2 staff reports from Urban Forestry, and 1 from Community Planning. Do we have the agent?
Hello, Larry Mintoff. You have been unmuted.
Good morning, sir. Mr. Mintoff.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'm going to try and call them in.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, Larry.
Says I'm okay.
Mr. Mintoff.
Okay.
If you,
I have you on my phone.
yeah, do you have another device going nearby?
I have another computer going by close by.
Yeah, we're getting some feedback here. So, is there any way to? Do you need your other
my
computer?
God. I can shut it down.
If you don't need it, that would be good. I think we're getting some feedback here.
Yeah, I did shut it down, but yeah, this is bizarre.
We're still getting significant feedback. Guys, is there anything we can do?
I don't. There's nothing else that's interfering from my end here.
Yeah, we're just looking into it from our end.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'll try unmuting him and muting him again.
Okay. Oh, there, that's better.
Oh.
Hello?
To you, Mr. Chair, I think he disconnected from the meeting. Perhaps we can move to the next
You give him a call?
application.
Great, thanks very much.
Hello, Larry. Are you there? Hello, Larry Mintoff. You have been unmuted and joined by phone.
Yeah, or
Hello.
I'm sorry. Hi.
Yeah, there. That's
yeah,
better.
The problem was I was sitting in front of my computer, and I think the feedback was interfering with that. So now I've walked away from my screen in order for you to hear me. So I apologize.
That's no problem. If you can give us your full name and address, please.
Sure. It's Larry Mintoff, and my address is 39 Old Mill Road, Toronto, Ontario.
Great, thank you. We don't have anyone registered to speak on this item today, but you've sent in a couple revised material, packages of material.
I was registered to speak, actually.
Yeah, okay, we'll let you speak. Are you making any changes to the variances?
In the last week or so, we worked closely with the community planner. We made some design revisions addressing the height of the building, the length of the building, which impacted the distance to the existing building to increase the distance. And through that exercise, we've been able to also address the area, the square footage of the space as well too, with a reduction. I worked closely with the community planner to address some of her concerns. At this stage right now, our objective was to design this ancillary dwelling to not only complement the existing building that's going up, but to address relevant issues with the city when it comes to housing shortage. We also wanted to create an opportunity for a revenue-generating item on the property for anybody that would be potentially purchasing this property.
That's great. So I'm just going to interrupt you there because I want to just walk through the variances and make sure that what we have in front of us are the correct variances. So can we just go item by item? Is variance number 1, is it the same or changed?
Okay, sorry. I literally have to walk to another room. I have no idea why this thing is doing this, but okay, so I apologize. So I can't see my monitor right now, but the first variance was addressing, if you can just tell me.
It was the separation distance and the soft landscaping. So it was, you were requesting 61% soft landscaping.
So when we got a variance when we were doing the existing building with the rear property that is essentially the same area that this is dealing with. With the variance that we got for that, we were maintaining that. Our objective is to create as much soft landscaping as possible. We obviously need to be able to walk from the laneway along the east side of the garage to the yard, and so at this point right now, we don't really see where we're able to reduce the amount of area to increase the soft
So
land.
just for the panel's purposes, so you're not changing variance number 1, which is asking 61% of the area between the rear main wall and the front wall of the ancillary building. Variance number 2 is is that the distance between the ancillary building and the laneway?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, so that's
for
you're
a distance.
You're not having any soft landscaping there. Is that correct?
No, there's landscaping. There's soft landscaping. Mostly is soft landscaping from between the two structures.
No. This is, I think, the area between your ancillary building and the laneway. You're required to have 75%. This variance suggests that you're having 0%.
Correct, because it's currently concrete there.
Okay.
It's essentially the drive right across.
The third variance is the separation distance. You're seeking a variance allowing a 5-meter separation distance between the laneway suite and the main dwelling.
And we have now, it's been also noted by the community planner with submissions, it's now been increased to 5.3 meters as we've reduced the overall length of the structure.
Okay, 5.3, okay, thank you. Item number 4 is the 45-degree angular plane.
Correct. We've illustrated the situation there, and it would severely compromise the function of the space by us having to accommodate that variance request or condition. So at this point right now, it would be impractical for us to be able to address that variance.
Okay, so you're keeping number 4. Number 5 is the height of your ancillary. You were seeking a 7.93 meter building.
So we've reduced the height. I wanted to also point out, too, that the design of the building has essentially a clear story pop-up portion that is somewhat deceptive. So the majority of the building is actually at 7 meters high. Now, we at the north end of the building, it would be at 6.5. So we have shown a reduction, and it's been noted with the documentation that went through to the community plan.
Right. So we're amending that variance to be 7.0 meters.
7.0 from the south end, and then at 6.54 from the north end.
Yeah, I think we're just looking for, the maximum here. So we'll amend that to be 7.0, correct?
Correct, from the front of the drive, yes.
Your next variance is with respect to building length. You were seeking a variance of 10.97 meters.
And we've altered that, and we've reduced it to 10.67 meters.
Okay. And lastly, the final variance which was with respect to bicycle parking spaces. You were seeking a variance to provide 0 bicycle parking spaces.
That was an oversight. We certainly have no issues providing a placement or parking for 2 bikes. So we could delete that or include that into an amendment.
So we're removing variance number 7.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, panel members, do you have any questions? Dylan?
I was just wondering if you could briefly explain the reason for the clerestory, since that's part of one of the variances.
Part of this was the ability to allow for natural light to penetrate the space in a greater detail. We don't have any windows on both the east side or the west side of the property lines just because of the proximity. We wanted to create additional height within a select area within this space. The space itself is only about 600 square feet, so we certainly wanted to be able to create a space that had more appeal. However, if there's a need to make further concessions with that, we could certainly be open to that.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions? Okay, sir, Mr. Mintoff, we're going to take it into committee. Is there anything you'd like to add before we do that?
No, and I apologize. I have no idea what's happened with the technology here, but
it's all right. We're quite familiar with technology glitches. Okay, we're going into committee. Panel members, any comments? Thoughts? Motion? I don't know whose hand's up first. Nellie?
Just what's the design of the Lane Street is obviously very impressive, and it's an idea. But as Mr. D. Reed asked, what's the reason? Like it's a nice design, but it's still I think we are left with most of the variances, even after the redesigned plans, which actually we don't have, I think, on file, the redesigned file.
There's some revised plans have been submitted, so I think we have the ones that the agent was referring to.
Take it back. So I don't see the reason why all those variants, the height especially, is so much higher than the permitted. That's my thought.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Peter?
Sure. Thanks, Chair. I agree. I think I've got some issues with this application. I think that it's the separation distance from the main building, I think, is is too tight, and it results in an overbuilding on the site with the angular plane pushing in. I think there's not sufficient depth to fully accommodate a laneway suite of this size. And I know the applicant was talking about having a specific area of square footage to be livable space, and I don't think that what's being proposed is in the spirit of the zoning bylaw, so I'm not going to support this.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? All right, I'll look to a motion from someone. Peter?
I'll put forward to refuse the application for the reasons I just put forth.
Okay, motion to refuse by Mr. Reid. Do I have a seconder? Ms. Volpert, all in favor? Okay. Oh, am I allowed to vote on that one? Yeah, okay. Okay, those opposed? Okay. The motion is approved. I'm sorry, the application is refused.
And it's refused as amended.
As amended. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Sabrina. Okay, 730 COSBURN. This is an application to construct a one-story ancillary building, garden suite in the rear yard of the existing three-story detached dwelling. Committee has before it a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, and previous decision A103822 TUI affecting the subject property. Do we have the agent?
Hello, Mr. Perez. You have been unmuted.
Hello, good morning, Chairman and committee members. My name is Eddie Perez. I'm here on behalf of the owners. We're at 537 Rogers Road. As you can see, we went before the committee in 2022 in December, and at that time we had a garage, but the owner, with all the house shortages, decided that they want to put a garden suite. We don't have any angular planes on it at all. It's just a simple 4 meter high. And I feel that the variances are very minor in nature. As you can see, there's only 2 of them. And I feel that it meets the 4 tests. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you very much. Panel, any questions? Looks fairly straightforward. Okay, Mr. Perez, we're going to take it into committee. Anything further?
Thank you.
Great, thanks. Panel members, look to a motion. Mr. Reid?
It's a charming design. The variances affect the neighbors, but the neighbors don't seem to be bothered by it. There hasn't been any objections. It's a contribution to increasing living space in the city, which is one of the city's goals. So I move that we approve this application.
Okay, motion to approve from Dylan. Do I have a seconder? Peter? All in favor? You have your approval, Mr. Perez. Thank you. Okay, we move on to item number 6. 341 Harvie Avenue. This is an application to alter the existing one-story detached dwelling by constructing a complete second and third-story additions, a rear three-story addition, a front covered porch and stairs, as well as a front and rear basement walkouts. The existing garage will be demolished and a parking pad will be installed in the rear yard. There will be a total of 3 dwelling units on this lot. And the committee has before it copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, copy of the covering letter from the agent, tree location and tree photos received November 16th, presentation materials from the agent, staff reports from Urban Forestry, 2 staff reports, opposition correspondence from 345 Harvie, 34 Chudley, 343 Harvie, 30 Chudley, 22 Chudley, a 7-signature petition in opposition from owners occupants of 20, 22, 34 Chudley, 343, 345, 440 Harvie, and 390 Nairn Avenue, and materials in opposition from 343 Harvie Avenue.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have the agent online. We do have 2 registered speakers in opposition here in person, as well as 2 speakers in opposition online.
Thank you. Okay, could we have Mr. Romano, please?
Mr. Chairman, members of the panel, Franco Romano, Action Planning, 321 Lakeshore.
Okay, we're going to need a presentation, no longer than 5 minutes, please.
Yes, thank you, and thanks staff for bringing up my slides there. So slide number 1 is an air photograph, and we'll see that the subject site is located on the east side of Harvie Avenue. It's just north of Chudley. It's a key lot. So the property is on Chudley back on to the subject site, and then you'll see northerly from the subject site other dwellings front onto Harvie as well. It is an area that's zoned for residential, and so there's a mixture of building types. And the physical form of development is 1 to 3 stories in height, and there are several nearby buildings, including dwellings on Chudley and on Harvie, that are older dwellings as well as new construction that have, for example, an integral garage that might be at grade, slightly below grade, and then 2 levels of living above it. So they certainly present themselves as 3-story buildings in the streetscape, and they have building heights that do vary. We'll see in terms of building length and depth, there's quite a diversity, including buildings that are quite deep into the lots, extending well into the backyards, paving, and then accessory structures in the rear. So the proposal is to maintain the existing building footprint and build a 3-story addition to the rear. Yes, thanks. If you can go to slide 2, that'd be fine. Thank you. If staff can bring up slide number 2, the site plan, that'd be terrific. So the proposal is for a rear 3-story addition and a 2-story top-up. And on slide number 2, I am outlining where there is a canopy. The canopy over top of the front porch will have a roof eaves that projects to the north side lot line with a 0-meter setback. The building itself is a flat roof building, so it has 0.98 meter side yard eave setbacks. And the second variance is for the north side yard setbacks. We see that the building addition at the rear continues the existing side wall, and that results at the eastern edge of the proposed building to have a 0.17 meter side yard setback. The driveway on the south side may be retained. The existing garage in the back is being removed. And a single parking pad is being introduced into the back. So there's the two variances that deal with side yard setback and the eaves projection setback. Those are, in my opinion, minor in nature and result in no unacceptable adverse impact. And it's my opinion that what is being proposed should be authorized. Subject to any questions, Mr. Chairman, that is my presentation at the moment.
Great, thank you very much. I think we'll hold questions. We have some folks here to speak to us, so.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we'll call up Catherine Richardson.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for listening to my concerns regarding this build that is supposedly a build and a renovation.
Thank you. Before we start, could we just get your name and address,
yes,
please?
Yes, I meant to do that. My name is Catherine Richardson. I live at 343 Harvie. I am directly adjacent to 341 to the north.
Okay.
This first variance is actually quite major. I speak in English because I'm inches, because I'm old. So when you translate 1.2 meters into inches, that's 47, and that is the minimum for a triplex, which the new build is supposedly going to be. What he would like to do, in effect, is to reduce it down to 0.017 meters, which is 7 inches. From 47 to 7 is a major, major variance. It is way too close to my property. It would be 7 inches closer at the back and 10 inches at the front. So basically what that is, it's a 75% closer to the side yard setback, okay? So that's the first point. The second point is that if this building goes through, I will have, that's 341 on the screen. I'm the white building right next to it, which doesn't show up there, but if you flash another picture, it will. You can see how close the two buildings are. Okay, so I would not have access to do any repairs to my garage at the back of the property if it's only 7 inches from the lot line. The shadow resulting from the 3-story addition would cause an elimination of light from my side yard. The rear addition is going to require excavation. And at 7 inches from the lot line, I'm deeply concerned that there will be some damage to my property. And they also have asked, well, they haven't gotten approval for it yet, but they want to remove a 20-foot spruce tree. And the roots, I'm sure, must go under my garage. So concerning the second variance, this is the one about the eaves troughs being the minimum requirement for zoning is 0.3 meters, or basically 12 inches. They're proposing to bring it right on the lot line. This, in my opinion, and I am not an architect or an engineer, could potentially create drainage issues for me. Plus the fact that depending on where the downspouts come, again, it could be a drainage issue, okay? I have other objections. If I understand the plans correctly, and I might not, he wants to put 9 windows facing my property. Okay, currently there are none. And one of the pictures will show you that there are absolutely no windows facing on the side there, okay? So to me, that creates privacy and fire safety issues. I have spoken with another contractor, and he tells me that because of the distance between the two buildings, which is 8 feet 2 inches, I measured this morning, he has to put fire shutters on his windows should a fire ever occur, so that my house will not catch fire, okay? Also, the rear windows on the second and third floors will look directly into my backyard urban footprint and less soft landscaping. The floor plans do not indicate where the dryers and the furnaces are going. Is that going to be vented on the north side, which then would affect my air quality? Okay. Currently, there is nothing on my side. All the windows currently in the small bungalow do face the south. You can see them right there. There's the driveway. There's the garage they propose to remove, which then extends the driveway quite a bit further onto the adjoining lots on Chudley, which some of them have expressed concerns. Okay. During, the build, and I am sure at some point with revisions to the plan, this building might actually go through. I think I might have access issues on my driveway. I can't see how he can build that close to the property line and not have to come on my property to do the constructions. Okay, I would also like the builder's assurance or reassurance that the proposed structure will not damage my property. My last bullet point was that I'm concerned that this build will have an impact on my property tax. I mean, a lot of the homes in the neighborhood are going for well over $1 million. I have a modest 1.5-story, 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom.
Ma'am, I'm just going to ask you to wrap up.
Okay, I'm going to wrap up. The proposed build takes the original building, which is 43 feet long, adds another 28, which makes it 71 square feet. That is more than 50% more on that lot of land. There are 5 letters of objections in. There's a petition signed by 7 residents. There would have been 8, but one of the neighbors was in the hospital. I am greatly opposed to this particular build. I think he needs to go back to the drafting board. I would really urge you to think that, 7 inches from a lot line, it's unacceptable.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming down. Panel, any questions?
To me or anybody?
Nope. Thank you very much for coming down.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we can call up the owner of 53 Joffrey Street. Christina? I'm just here to support. Okay, okay.
Hello, Christopher and Lindsay Doyle. You have been unmuted.
Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Christopher Doyle, and I live at 22 Chudley Road. And I'm speaking today to express my numerous concerns about the build that is proposed for 341 Harvie. The developer and their consultants have, first of all, characterized the requested variance as minor, and I'm in agreement with Catherine here that I'd contest that characterization. Variance number 1, for example, will put what is going to be far and above the largest structure in the immediate area a mere 17 centimeters from the property line, whereas the bylaw requires 1.2 meters. That's a difference of 103 centimeters, or 85% less than the required setback. I would not characterize that as minor. That's a significant encroachment onto the neighboring property, and will also obviously dramatically affect the natural light and character of all the adjacent homes and yards. I also want to point out that the proposed addition to the rear is significant. It increases the footprint by almost 50%. The proposed height of 3 stories will also have a profound effect on the privacy of my own home, as well as the neighboring properties on Chudley. The new additions will be both higher and much closer to my house with the proposed extension. And the residents of the 3rd floor will not only have a clear, unobstructed view of my backyard where my children play, but will also have a direct line of sight into my master bedroom, which backs onto my backyard and on the 2nd floor. And that would be a significant diminishing of privacy that my wife and I share. Excuse me. The neighbors on either side as well will have their privacy similarly affected, and many of them have young children and have created private yards with which to enjoy their family time, and as a reprieve from the bustling city. We collectively take a lot of pride in our yards and the privacy and the quality of life that it affords us, and the affecting of that privacy will have a significant diminishment of that quality of life. I also take issue with the location and size of the proposed parking pad, which will dramatically increase the amount of traffic, noise, and air pollution. If we're talking about three domiciles here, that's potentially 6 vehicles, and that's going to, given the size and scope of the building, that's going to be highly problematic with the fact that they are seeking to accommodate several residents. And the larger neighborhood is changing, and this is I want to acknowledge as well. And I live in a newer house, but my house is 2 stories, and allowing this 3-story rise within a neighborhood that is characterized by 1- and 2-story single-family dwellings is going to dramatically impact the character of the neighborhood, and will set a damaging precedent that will allow future developers to do the same and build massive structures for profit and not in the interest of the community. I also think that the removal of the trees will also negatively impact what is a major green space within the city with the adjacent cemetery and all of the old growth trees in the neighborhood. That is one of the defining characteristics of this neighborhood, and a really important one. And to recap, all of the above objections that we have are characterized by the fact that this will have a dramatic effect on our quality of life, certainly at our house, and I would imagine for the adjacent properties as well. The developer is not a member of our community and does not carry out this work for the betterment of the neighborhood, but rather to maximize the return on investment for the property in question. As above, the proposed variances are not minor, and the overall plan for the lot will have a cascade of negative impacts, both in the short and the long term, to the surrounding neighborhood. We ask that the Committee of Adjustment consider scaling back the proposal to align with the other structures in the immediate neighborhood and to allow for the affected residents to continue to enjoy a quality of life and the natural beauty of this wonderful neighborhood, while still allowing for the development of property in a more reasonable and responsible manner. I think that this is a fair and balanced approach that considers the needs of all parties. And I would ask that the developer and their agent return to their plans and have another look at this so that they can proceed with the blessing of the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Panel, any questions of the speaker? Okay, do we have one further?
Hello, Cheryl, you have been unmuted.
Hi, my name is Cheryl, and I'm from the address 30 Shackley Road, directly south of this new proposal. I'm not going to repeat myself, but I am in agreement with what the other two proponents, as well as the other two letters that is written and submitted to the committee, that the variance actually is not minor, but is major, affecting the immediate adjacent properties. But I would like to further extend my opposition to the structure itself, and it's listed on the letter that I write to you guys. Three of my major concern is privacy, daylight, and stormwater treatment, mainly because this proposal is basically a giant monolithic box built right directly north of all the 5 properties that is south of them, 6 of them. And this is a sloping site. So they are not only building 11 meters above at their grading, but if it compared to all 6 lot from the south, we are on a sloping site, and if we measure from the lowest point, this is almost like a 12 to 13 meters high building directly north of us. Gonna be significant affecting daylight. We will be major affecting the north sites, the sites of the north. But on the south side, actually shaded a big piece of sky that is north side for us. That's one concern. The second one is the windows opening, looking directly south to the 3 lots where this structure will be. There's 6 4 by 5 feet windows in each of this very small room, looking directly into our backyards. And there is nothing to cover it. The design itself doesn't show any consideration to the adjacent neighbors or even to the occupants. Like in a small room, like as small as like an 8 by 8 room with such a 4 by 5 feet windows, I don't know if I'm looking into them or they're looking into us. And the last one that is on my notes is the stormwater. They are having a extended pavement on the south side of the lot, which is directly north of the 6 properties. I have a question about how they're going to treat the stormwater and drainage, because the water shows that it's just going to keep going south to the lowest point, which means it will bring a lot more water down south to the properties. Consider this is an older neighborhood. Houses are built like minimum 70 years old to like 100. None of these houses were designed at the time to consider so much stormwater coming down or into the property. So that I have concern would affect the properties in the south side. And above all, like the rest of the opponent was saying, that the structure itself is really not sitting harmoniously into the neighborhood fabrics. I'm not opposed to any of the density into the neighborhood. This is what Toronto needed. But there's new bylaws coming in, and this is one of the very first structure that is showing that they want to build a triplex or maybe a quadplex happen in the future. I strongly want to challenge the owner itself. Like, if you want to densify the lot that you said is so deep by the agent, there's many ways than just stacking up like a Lego blocks. The structure itself is not sitting harmonious with the rest of the roof line in the neighborhood. And there's no consultation around the neighborhood. and the unit itself doesn't seem to design to fit into like the current neighborhood fabric. So I would strongly ask the committee to consider all this fact, because this is going to set a precedent for this neighborhood, and it is important. This is a multi-generation neighborhood. There's a lot of young families living here, as well as a lot of old residents. Everyone really care. I'm new to this neighborhood, but I really like my neighbors and how we interact. So it's quite important what kind of building and the area attracting what kind of people come in, and that is the most important part into the neighborhood itself.
Great,
thank you.
Sorry, thank you very much. Panel, any questions? Okay, can we get Mr. Romano back, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I am back. If staff can bring up my slide number 1, please. Appreciate it. And I'll just start off by saying, as staff are bringing that up, that there's no landscaping, no lot coverage variances, no driveway variances. If we look at this site plan, at this air photograph, we'll see that number 22 Chudley is the 7th property to the right of Harvie Avenue, and it is a long black roof building. It's 2 stories above a garage, and it does not back onto the subject site. So there are no privacy, no impacts whatsoever to number 22 Chudley. Number 30 Chudley is the 3rd property in from Harvie to the right, and we'll see that there's a large accessory structure right up against the subject site's property line, and you'll see that that is on the survey as well, and there's a driveway that leads all the way through. Well, that will interfere with certainly any south-facing views from the windows, and there's no that existing driveway is being retained, so there's no actual alteration or changes to drainage. There are no variances associated with the windows on the south side, and on that point, with respect to Ms. Richardson's comments, there are no north-facing windows. So there are no windows facing north towards 343. And the east trough, there actually is no east trough because it's a flat roof. So the downspouts are going to be directed onto the subject site, and that will be actually an improvement to what is there today, because the eaves, the downspout today is basically at the north lot line or probably even over it. And they direct that water down onto the hard surface and the driveway that is there. So you may have seen in some of the photographs that Ms. Richardson had pointed out, there's a shed and a waste bin in the driveway, but that's actually on my client's property because of that setback, and that's shown on the survey. So there are no north-facing windows. All of the HVAC, mechanical, on the south side of the building, so there won't be venting towards the north. And in terms of the soft landscaping and landscaping, there are no variances for that. And if we go to slide number 2, please, we'll see that there is one 19-centimeter tree, which is not regulated, that is just behind the existing dwelling to be removed. There are no other tree impacts. So I actually saw flashed up on the screen a comment from Urban Forestry that there's a walnut tree that's being removed. That walnut tree is not on the subject site, and it's in the arborist report as being retained, and it's actually in the back of the Chudley properties. But if we look at the site plan again, at slide number 2, we'll see that the detached garage that is on Ms. Richardson's property currently has a 31 centimeter to 17 centimeter side yard setback. That 31 centimeters is up against where the 3-story addition is going to be. That is in compliance with the zoning bylaw. So the zoning bylaw permits an accessory garage to have a 30 centimeter side yard setback, and so that that affords the ability to provide access without having to go onto my client's property. But there's also a fence there that is currently restricting access from 343 to this garage. And I imagine that if that fence is removed, then access will be accommodated in that respect. So that is not an impact that comes from the subject proposal or the subject site. And I would submit that what is being proposed is very much keeping with the zoning bylaw. There's substantial zoning bylaw compliance. There is no building height variance. The building is lower than the maximum permitted building height. And so what's anticipated in terms of length, depth, lot coverage, etc., all zoning bylaw compliance. So in terms of what one may expect from a shadow perspective, it's all in keeping with what the bylaw would permit. The side yard setback is really an extension of the existing. In my view, that minimizes impacts.
Mr. Romano, I'm just going to ask you if you could just wrap up, please.
Yes, and one other point, certainly the owner or even Ms. Richardson but the owner can certainly undertake a pre and post construction audit to ensure that that there's no construction related activity that results in off-site disturbances, and the building permit process and the review process achieves that same goal as well. So thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Panel, any questions, Dylan?
One question. Just for the sake of the neighbor to the north, can you confirm the walls will be basically at the same location as the existing walls, and you'll be retaining the existing foundation of the one-story building and expanding? And is that correct?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. That is 100% correct. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else? Nellie?
I would just like to note about the drawings. They're inadequate because you don't have the cardinal directions. Like if you look at the elevations, there is markings like left side elevation or right side elevations, and that creates confusion, and that's why I think that your neighbor to the north was concerned about the windows, and now we understand that windows would be on the south, right? But we cannot see it from the drawings. So that's. Do you see that?
So I'm looking at their site plan. There is a north.
No, if we look at the elevations.
Oh, the elevations. Okay.
Yeah. So we have it marked as left side elevation or right side elevation.
Okay.
It doesn't tell us much, and that creates confusion.
Okay.
Not an adequate drawing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments or question, panel? Okay, we're going to take it into committee. Thoughts, Dylan?
Yeah. So I understand that the neighbor's concerns at significant change in the neighborhood, but all of the size concerns are within the as of right permission. Those are not part of what we can actually manage. They're all as of right. Really, the key thing is the impact on the neighbor. But as we can see, it's actually a current condition. The setback, a side yard setback to the north is an existing condition. The neighbor's concerns about vents are reasonable, but I think the builder has addressed those and said that those will be on the south side. The builder is also assured that, in fact, the drainage will be better, and the drainage will be draining onto his property at the back. So I feel like those key concerns that do affect the variances have been addressed. I also feel like this is a really valuable addition to the city, providing some new apartment buildings quite close to what will be a new major transit line. And it fits with the city's goal of creating new units in existing neighborhoods. So I will be supporting this.
Great. Thank you. Anyone else? Nellie?
Just my thoughts on, I have concerns about this. Can you hear me?
Yeah, just louder, that's all.
Okay, yeah,
Thank
I
you,
have
that's good.
concerns about this application, and the first is privacy concerns. Again, while, we figured out that, the windows will be on the south side, there's still a third floor balcony or Juliet balcony that will be overlooking the neighbors, and especially neighbors from the north, and there is no private, like you cannot provide a privacy screen there, right? It's a Juliet balcony first. And the second, it's the massing. Like the building proposed doesn't offer any staggered design that kind of reduce, according to the city guidelines, we're trying to make buildings, fit the neighborhood. And here we just have a square box with no ideas of how to reduce the massing. So because of that, I think this application should be revised. Like, I won't be supporting it.
I'll just wait, and I agree with Mr. Reed. I think this is a valuable contribution to the neighborhood, and the building is pretty much as of right, and it's just existing conditions with extending the foundation. And these are the kinds of gentle density proposals that I think we need to support in bringing rental accommodation to an existing neighborhood. So I'll be supporting Mr. Reed. So I'll look for a motion if there's no other further comments. Mr. Reed?
I move to approve these variances. I don't think there's any conditions.
There's a forestry advisory memo.
There's a forestry advisory memo, but it's not a condition.
Yeah.
So.
But we'll cite it in as a...
But we'll cite the forestry advisory memo. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the reasons that I stated earlier.
Motion by Dylan. I have a seconder. Peter, seconds. All in favor? Those opposed? Ms. Volpert dissents. The application is approved. Thank you very much. Okay, we move on to item number 7. This is 25 Boston Avenue, and this is an application to legalize and maintain the existing ancillary structure, which is a carport at the rear of the property abutting the laneway. Committee has before it a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, revised site plan received January the 8th, 4 photographs of the subject property, and a cover letter from the agent. We have a staff report from community planning. Do we have the agent?
Hello.
Good morning. My name is good morning, all. My name is Sam Wong. I'm representing the owner for this 25 Boston Avenue.
Great. Thank you very much. Panel, do we want a presentation? Don't see a need for a presentation, but I think we would benefit from an explanation as to how the structure was constructed without a building permit.
I'm the agent for the current owner. I believe they bought the house without knowing that the carport was illegally built. And the carport is actually built without any building permit or without any inspections.
Sorry, so you're saying your client built it but didn't know that they required a building permit?
No, the previous owner built it and sell the property to the current owner.
Oh, the previous owner built it?
Without any permit.
Without a permit, okay. Thanks very much. Panel, any questions? No? Is there... I just want to talk about the rear landscaping. Your variance that you're requesting is quite considerably below what the requirement is. I think from the photos, we noticed that there is a deck covering most of the rear yard, a wooden deck.
This item, yeah, we have resubmitted the revised site plan January the 8th. The rear yard has turned back to all new soft landscaping, and then only with a footpath with permeable pavers. So essentially the area shown on what is on the screen is the same as the original building.
Okay, so then can we turn attention to variance number 4? So are you planning either to revise or eliminate that variance?
We submitted the revised site plan January the 8th, essentially increasing the percentage. I believe almost more than double it. Let me double check it. And that item actually was removed from the latest zoning report. On item 4, on the revised drawing we submitted, the percentage of the soft landscaping has increased over to 39% instead of what was contracted at 6%. So we essentially increase.
So if you're at 39%, then you don't require that variance?
Not on the zoning notice I received from City of Toronto. This item was removed.
Okay, so just for the record, you're asking for variance number 4 to be removed?
Yes.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. And all the rest of the variances stay the same?
Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, panel members, any questions? Okay, we're going to take this item into committee. Any thoughts? Panel, can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Paul?
To approve this application and also recognize that the applicant inherited a situation and seemed to work quite well with planning staff to resolve it and to find a equitable solution for the rear landscaping. So again, I think if the requested variances 1, 2, and 3, I recommend we approve.
Okay, so it's an amended application. So, and you're recommending approval of variances 1, 2, and 3. Okay, there is a planning condition which is tying it to the revised site plans. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion from Mr. Gogan. Do I have a seconder? Ms. Volpert? All in favor? You have your approval, sir. Can we, Sabrina, attach the normal for the record item about the panel not condoning works being done prior to issuing a building permit?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, we will do that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we move to item number 8. 216 Westmoreland. And this is an application to alter the existing 2-story semi-detached dwelling by constructing a rear 3rd-story addition with a rear 3rd-story deck. The committee has before it a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 3 photographs of the subject property, and decision number A0945/15 TUI affecting the subject property. Do we have the agent?
Yes, through Mr. Speaker and committee members. My name is Bruno Lopes from MXL Engineering and Associates, located at 1649 St. Clair Avenue West, and I'm representing the owner.
Thank you very much. Hang on a sec. Panel, fairly straightforward. Does anyone need a presentation? Okay, Mr. Lopez. Panel has read all the information material you've submitted. We don't really need a presentation. Is there anything you'd like to add before we take it into committee for a decision?
Just quick comments that these homeowners, they've been there for 22 years. They spoke to the neighbors. Everybody's in agreement, and it's just another good design that fits the neighborhood and pleases everybody.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, panel, we're in committee. Thoughts, comments, motion? Mr. Reid?
Thanks, Chair. I am happy to bring a motion. I think that this is a good application. It looked large on paper in terms of the actual built form, but there's no height or length or depth variance, and I think it is massed in a good way to prevent overlook into the rear yard with the 3rd story balcony being inset. I think the variances being requested are minor, and it's a sensitive infill project, so I move approval with no conditions.
Okay, Mr. Reed moves approval, seconder? Sure. Dylan? Seconds? All in favor? You have your approval, sir. Thank you very much. Anyone need a break? You want to? Yes? You okay? Dylan, did you want a break? Can we take a short 10-minute break, please? Thank you.
They should make these agendas like, they used to, when for a committee, they used to, when they were in person, you would have a huddle in the beginning, any deputants, and then you do all the ones with no deputants, like first, and just roll through them. And then you would then, I mean, I guess it's more democratic this way, it just sticks to the agenda item. And if you're calling and you call in, but. Yeah.
Okay, we ready? All right, we resume with item number 9, 592 Willard Avenue. This is an application to alter the existing 1.5-story detached dwelling by constructing complete second and third floor additions, flood additions, a front balcony on the second floor above the reconstructed porch, and front and rear third floor balconies. There will be 2 dwelling units on the lot. The committee has before it copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, revised site plan submitted December 3rd, 2023, revised second and third floor plans received January the 3rd, decision number A1517/21 affecting the subject property, and an arborist report. We have correspondence and opposition from 587 Willard and 588 Willard. Do we have the agent?
Hello, Rick. You have been on.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Rick Bongers, 75 Redwood Avenue, Cambridge, Ontario.
Okay, we have some opposition. We have no one speaking, but I wonder if you could just give us a short, quick overview of your application, please.
Yes, basically it's a brother and sister that own the home, and they're proposing the renovation so their elderly parents can live with them. I feel that's commendable and should be encouraged.
Okay, that's it. Thank you. Panel, any questions on this application?
I just want to add, there's that large tree in the front. Is that on the subject property or is it next door?
No, it's on the subject property.
And am I correct in recalling that the arborist report or somewhere it says that part of the tree will need to be cut in order to build this?
We'll follow the arborist report recommendations. I mean, it's a city tree, but it's sort of almost in line with the north edge of the property. It looks like it's had some remedial trimming done to it in the past.
Right, but you think that for this construction you'll need to remove one of the limbs? Is that correct?
Let me just look at the front.
Yeah.
And
have you already talked to City Forestry and received gone through the process of receiving permission to damage a city tree? Has that already been done?
Well, based on what I look at on Google Street View, it doesn't look like any of the limbs will be affected by the proposed renovations. That's something that obviously may have to be negotiated with forestry as the project progresses.
Okay.
I mean, there's one limb that's in front of the house. Whether that needs to be trimmed, I guess, remains to be seen. When I look at it, it doesn't look like it, but that's something that obviously we will deal with forestry at the appropriate time if there becomes an issue with it, or through the arborist report based on their recommendations.
Okay, thank you.
There's no forestry report on this item, right? Okay, so there's no forestry report.
I didn't see that.
One assumes that they wouldn't need that, but that's a good point. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, any further questions? Nellie?
Can you please confirm that the third story back balcony will have a privacy screen?
Yes, we're proposing, out of mutual respect for privacy amongst all neighbors, we're proposing a 1.5 meter high privacy screening on each side of the balcony.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Anything further? Okay, thanks very much, sir. We'll take it into committee. Comments, thoughts?
I was really confused by the fact there's no forestry report.
Yeah, it looks, just from the Google Street View, it looks kind of like maybe they can build it without dealing with the tree,
usually
but
forestry would say something, but anyway.
they're usually pretty diligent, right?
I know. So anyway, that's why I asked, but.
Fair enough. Okay. Anyone want to make a motion? Peter?
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, I'm happy to bring a motion. Just one note in the purpose of the application, there's a small typo. I don't know if.
Yeah, it's flood.
Flood, third flood additions instead of floor on the second line.
Hope that's not a harbinger of their application.
I hope not. Anyway, with that slight amendment, I think that this is a very sensitive infill project. I think keeping in the depth that's being added keeps in line with the neighbors. And I think it's actually very reasonable. And the massing fits in well, and the variances being requested are minor, so I move approval with no conditions.
Okay, Mr. Reed moves approval, no conditions. Do I have a seconder? Mr. Gogan? All in favor? You have your approval, sir. Thank you very much. We move on to item number 10, 91 Crescent Road. This is an application to alter the existing three-story detached dwelling by constructing a rear three-story addition with a side east ground floor deck and staircase, a rear basement walkout, rear first-story Juliet balconies, and rear third-story deck. The panel has before it a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 6 photographs of trees on the subject property, presentation materials from the agent, email correspondence from Heritage Services, Ravine Natural Feature Protection, and the TRCA. We also have staff reports from Urban Forestry and Ravine and Natural Feature Protection. We have support letters, form letters signed by owners occupants of 84, 89, 95, 99 Crescent Road, 26 Edgar Avenue, 4251 Clooney Drive, 6580 Mathersfield Drive, 80, 137, 139, 151 Roxborough Drive, and 116 South Drive. Do we have the agent with us?
Hello, Nick Allen. You've been unmuted.
Thank you. Yeah, Nick Allen, Replacement Design, speaking on behalf of the owner. Thank you.
Okay. Hold on a sec, panel. Do you want or need a presentation on this file? No, I think we're okay. Mr. Allen, we've read all the information and material that you've submitted. The panel doesn't really need a presentation. Do you have anything you'd like to share with the panel before we bring it into committee?
No, it sounds like you've reviewed our presentation. Unless there's any questions from the panel, I don't have anything further to add.
Okay, thank you very much. Panel, we'll go into committee. Do I have anyone have any thoughts or comments on this application? Peter?
Thanks, Chair. I do have some thoughts. I'm concerned with this application, specifically in regard to the length and depth. I think that this does extend very deep into the site, and I know it's an abnormally long site for its immediate neighbors, but not necessarily when we consider the slightly broader context. I think that there is a risk of unnecessary negative impacts to the rear yards of the adjacent neighborhoods because of these length and depth variances and also the deck variance. So I'm not going to be supporting this.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else? Dylan? Oh, sorry, Nellie? I saw 2 hands go up.
It's okay. Yeah.
Nellie, do you want to speak?
I agree with Peter that the length and depth way over the permitted and the variance is significant.
Okay, thank you very much. Dylan?
Well, I understand these concerns. There isn't really any objections from the neighbors, and there's a lot of support. They've obviously canvassed the neighborhood quite thoroughly. So I feel like it's supportable on that basis.
Okay. Paul, any thoughts?
I'll add to the committee is that this is always a challenge, right? Because it's a unique site with support from the neighborhood, but we're also trying to create a kind of a balanced approach to what is minor and what is not minor. I find a majority of them minor, but the ones I do have trouble with are the ones that increase the length of the building from 17 meters to 24, and again, but I do find that it's a quality proposal and a quality design solution. So I'm not sure where I am right now.
Well, I'll weigh in. This is a neighborhood which is characterized by big lots, big homes, big lots. This is a particularly deep lot. And I think even the adjacent properties, while will be affected by this application, I don't think detrimentally. I think the lot and the neighborhood can quite capably handle. I appreciate that it is a little bit deeper, but just looking at the lot fabric and this site in particular, it's an unusually deep lot. So I'm comfortable with this application. I think the design, in fact, is quite a smart design and introducing some additional space on a property that I think can accommodate it. So I'll be supporting it as well. So I'll look for a motion.
I'm happy to bring mine. For the reasons I stated before, I move refusal of the application.
Okay, do I have a seconder on this motion? Nellie? All in favor of refusing this application? Okay. All opposed? That motion fails. I'll need another motion, please.
I move that we approve this application and as it stands, and I think the forestry report was...
Forestry number 2?
Forestry number 2, or condition of forestry number 2.
And there is our ravine and natural features protection conditions as well. Okay. So, motion to approve this application subject to the conditions from RNFP and forestry number 2, moved by Mr. Gogan, seconded by Dylan Reed. All in favor?
Sorry, through you, Mr. Chair.
I missed one?
I'm just looking to see where those conditions are for our...
I have it written down, and...
They're advisory comments, I thought.
I thought it was conditions, but
No, they are conditions, sorry. It's dated January the 16th, 2024.
Yeah, and they're slightly different than forestry.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
And TRCA was good with it. Okay, so sorry. Motion by Mr. Gogan with those 2 conditions, seconded by Mr. Reed. All in favor? Those opposed? The application is approved. Thank you very much.
Through you, Mr. Chair. So Peter Reed and
pardon me.
Nellie Volport have dissented. Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we move on to item number 11, 834 Salmon Avenue. This is an application to convert the existing 1.5-story detached dwelling from 1 dwelling unit into 2 dwelling units by installing an additional unit within the basement. Also to demolish the existing 1-story rear portion and to construct a complete 2nd-story addition, a 2-story rear addition with a basement, ground floor, front covered porch with stairs, a ground floor rear deck with stairs, and as well as a side access stairs. The committee has before it a copy of the plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 1 photograph of the tree on the subject property, and staff report from Urban Forestry. Do we have the agent?
Hello, Yama Assad. You have been unmuted, as well made a panelist so you can turn on your video.
Good morning, committee. My name is Yama Assad. I'm the owner at 834 Salmon Avenue.
Okay. Hang on a second, sir. We don't have anyone in opposition, so the panel, would you like a short presentation? No? Anyone? Okay, Mr. Assad, we've read all the material you've submitted. We're comfortable with what we have. We don't need a presentation this morning. Before we take it into committee for a decision, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, the description talks about a 1.5-story detached dwelling. It's actually a bungalow. It's not a 1.5-story. I just wanted to bring that up.
So it's a 1-story detached dwelling?
Yeah.
Okay, we will make that change.
Yes, I have informed the surveyor of this. I have not been able to get the revised survey to say that.
Okay. Thank you for that. I'm just looking up your site plan.
Through you, Mr. Chair, the survey plan on file shows this as 1.5 story.
Okay, can someone look it up on Google Street
Existing.
View? Does anyone have it on Google Street View?
I think it appears as a 1.5 story, but maybe it just functions as a 1 story. I think that's maybe the difference.
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, so there's no second story, it's probably an attic or something?
Attic, yeah.
So.
Yeah, just a large roof with an attic, yeah.
Sabrina, we're in your hands, how you want to deal with it?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I would prefer to be consistent and follow what the survey plan is showing.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Mr. Assad, we will continue to refer to it as a 1.5 story just because it visually presents as such, and the survey refers to it as a 1.5 story. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Before we move on, I just wanted to check with on your site plan. You're a little bit light, considerably light with front landscaping. You're seeking a variance for 22% on your front landscaping, and maybe we can just talk a little bit about that. You have a property that looks like it suffers from the property line being very close to this structure.
Yeah, that's correct.
But I do note that you're proposing a new interlock walkway.
That's correct, yes. So the walkway from the existing concrete would be interlock or permeable pavers, and if that helps with the softscaping issue. The remaining items are, the as-built condition. The existing porch is being removed, and we're adding a new smaller porch. So to the west of where the window well is, that area will be softscape. Currently, it's all part of the front porch.
And you've got softscaping in the boulevard, which is good. You mentioned permeable pavers. Would you be comfortable with a condition that requires your walkway to be constructed with permeable pavers?
Yes, I have no issue with that.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, we go into committee. Panel, thoughts? Nellie?
I think if we have a condition of permeable pavers, I think we can move ahead with approval.
Would you like to make a motion?
Yes, and we have forestry conditions as well. Forestry condition 1 and 2.
Yes.
So I would like to move a motion to approve the forestry condition and the permeable pavers condition.
Okay. Motion by Ms. Volport to approve, subject to urban forestry conditions 1 and 2, and constructing the front walkway with permeable pavers. Do I have a seconder? Mr. Reed, Dylan Reed. All in favor? You have your approval, sir. Thank you very much. Next item is number 12, 430 Palmerston Boulevard. This is an application to alter the existing 2.5-story detached dwelling by constructing a rear 2-story addition with a second-story roof terrace. This is an amended application which removes the previously proposed rear laneway suite. The committee has before it copy plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations. Revised site plan received January 17th. Covering letter from the agent received January 17th. An arborist report. Presentation materials from the agent. A red line public notice received January 17th. We have staff reports from Urban Forestry and from Transportation Services. We have correspondence and support from 428 Palmerston and 4 form letters in support from 373, 405, 386 Palmerston, and 468 Palmerston.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we only have the agent speaking for this file.
Great, thank you very much. Mr. Bronskill.
Hello, David, you have been unmuted.
Oh, there we go. It popped off. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Name and address, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Apologies. I know staff were having difficulty unmuting me, so I reconnected, and then it's on my end. I'm madly hitting the mute button to try and make myself
No trouble at all.
heard. Last name is Bronskill, Bronskill. First initial D is for David. Here acting as agent on behalf of the applicant, and just for staff, mailing address is 333 Bay Street, Suite 3400, Toronto, Ontario.
Thank you very much. Maybe, David, a short overview, because your client has amended this application, so maybe we can just do a quick walkthrough.
I can absolutely happy to do that. There's Mr. Chair, sort of 3 aspects that I would just highlight in the overview, because I'm also going to be asking the committee to impose a condition that you may have seen requested by one of the neighbors in a letter of support. It's a belt and suspenders condition, but I'll just flag it for you as we go through. The amendment to the first thing is the amendment to the application comes from or arises from the transportation memo that's in front of you. And so thank you for staff for putting that up. That's really helpful. Or the memo or the purpose, either work. The original purpose of the application was both to construct the dwelling and also to have a new 2-story ancillary building, which was essentially a detached garage with a laneway suite in the rear yard. The transportation memo, which came in subsequent to the initial notice going out, requested a widening of the laneway, and you can see it there, 1.72 meters from the rear property line, abutting Jewish Folk Choir laneway. What that effectively would do is move the laneway structure closer to the proposed dwelling, which we think triggers a new variance. So what we did with extreme thanks to staff is work on a revised public hearing notice that breaks out the ancillary structure. So that's now not before you as part of this. It's just the house. And we'll be back, I'm just being fully transparent, we'll be back at a subsequent committee of adjustment date to have the variances considered that are associated with the detached garage and the laneway suite at the back. And so that's why you have the revised public hearing notice in front of you. It deletes the reference to the ancillary building, and then it deletes variances 4, 5, and 6, which were all associated with that ancillary building being the garage and the laneway suite. So you only have the 3 variances in front of you, which is the soft landscaping, the FSI, and the permitted depth. So that's the first thing, Mr. Chair. Just the second thing I would say, just on the variances themselves, the front yard landscaping is actually slightly improved from the existing condition, but the deficiency, frankly, results from most of the existing condition, but it is slightly being improved through the application. We do have in the package for you a typical presentation that I'm happy to walk through or not that shows the dwelling, shows its relationship to the neighbors. We also track numerically some of the FSIs that have been approved in the area, just so you would have them from a numeric perspective. But I think notably, and this is my segue to the third thing, notably, there are some letters of support. There's no one here speaking in opposition. And in particular, there's one letter of support from 428 Palmerston, immediately adjacent. What they've asked us to confirm with a condition, which we are accepting of, is that there's no third floor balcony, deck, or platform. There's none shown on the plans. They just want to ensure that in the future our client doesn't add one, and that's to mitigate concerns about privacy and overlook from the third floor. Our client did have those discussions directly with that neighbor and is happy to agree to some type of condition like that, which would ensure no future third floor balcony, deck, or platform. There is a good amenity space on the second floor proposed in terms of an outdoor space, and so no third floor space is being proposed as part of this.
Great, thank you very much. You did, of course, I think, see the forestry report recommending refusal with respect to the future proposed laneway suite, right? So I presume you'll take that into consideration at a future time?
Yeah, we will. I think we just have to talk to them about that. There may be some confusion about that, but we will work that through with them. And obviously, if and when that comes back in front of the committee, I'm hopeful that we will have successfully addressed that concern.
Great, thank you. Panel, any questions?
Thank you, sir.
Any questions, Nellie?
Variance number one will have a big difference between the required soft landscaping, right? And you're proposing 43.5 versus 75% required. Can you offer some ways to mitigate that, to maybe install permeable pavers at the front?
Through you, Mr. Chair, if I could show you ask your staff to put up the site plan, that we've improved, we actually have improved the existing condition slightly. I don't think there is that opportunity for permeable pavers here. There's no driveway or parking. And you can see there's an existing porch that we are keeping as part of the structure. That's what's essentially occupying a significant portion of that front yard. If staff are able to pull up our supporting materials in page 2, it would be helpful. We can show how what we've done with the architect is maximize what we can in terms of the remaining green space. Thank you. There's the site plan showing it. There's frankly not a lot else we can do. There's a space for storage and there's a walkway on the side. But otherwise, within that area where the existing porch is remaining, we've done our best to, in fact, maximize the green space and actually improve it slightly over what actually exists there today. So it is a variance, but it actually represents an improvement in the existing condition.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Through you, Mr. Chair, just for the committee's knowledge and to be mindful that when you're imposing a condition that is as of right based on the bylaws, it causes issues regarding the third story balcony, right?
Fair enough. Okay.
So just be mindful about that.
Mr. Bronskill, does just before we go into committee, do your elevations don't show third story balcony, right?
Correct.
So would it be better rather than a condition, could we simply tie approval to plans?
I would suggest, sir, if we were going to do that, I have no concern with tying to plans. I'm wondering if it could exclude the site plan, perhaps we could tie it to the elevations only. The reason I say that, sir, is I'm only thinking of the subsequent laneway application, and I just don't want to unknowingly create a conflict between site plans. But given that there's no third floor deck or platform or balcony shown, we'd have no concern whether it was tied to a rear elevation or whether it was tied to a side elevation, or both.
Yeah, I think that's fine. If we tied it to the rear elevation, I think that would satisfy the neighbors' concerns about a balcony, and as Sabrina says, keeps us out of hot water otherwise. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you, thank you to staff.
Okay. All right, we go into committee. Were we in committee? Let's go into committee. Thoughts, comments, motion? Peter?
Sure, thanks, Chair. I do think with the removal of the laneway suite, this is a fully supportable application. The depth goes back not even as far as it could, and I think the massing also is nice. I think it's broken up a bit, and that lessens some of the impact of this new mass on the neighbors in the rear. So I move approval of the application with the condition that the approval be tied to substantially in accordance with the rear and the side elevations.
Okay. Thank you very much. I have forestry 2 and 3 written down, but I don't know whether that is any current. Is that still good, Sabrina?
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, I have the same in my notes.
Forestry 2 and 3?
It was 1 and 2, but then got changed to 2 and 3, is that right? With the removal of?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, urban forestry 2 and 3 as well.
Great, thank you. Motion to approve with those conditions by Mr. Reid. Do I have a seconder? Ms. Volpert, all in favor? You have your approval, sir. Thank you very much.
Through you, Mr. Chair, it'll be the revised plans dated January 17th, 2024, and the elevations that were stated by Peter Reid.
Thank you very much. Okay, we move on to item number 13, 55 John Street. This is an application to construct 2 new storage sheds in the north courtyard of the existing 27-story government office building to supplement the relocation of Metro Hall Early Learning Childcare Center from the intersection of Wellington and John Streets to the plaza at the intersection of King and John Streets. The existing shed on the south courtyard will be demolished. So the committee has before it a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 5 photographs of the trees on the subject property, site-specific bylaw 1989-0616 applying to the subject property, email correspondence from Metrolinx, and staff report from Urban Forestry.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we only have the agent speaking on this file.
Thank you very much. If we could have the agent, please.
Good morning. My name is Harvie Wu. I'm an architect and associate at Diamond Schmidt Architects in Toronto, 384 Adelaide Street West, and I'm the applicant and agent for this application.
Excuse me. Thank you very much, Mr. Wu. I don't think we'll need a presentation on this one. I think it's quite straightforward and clear what the applicant is seeking. So, and we don't want to tick off City of Toronto. We'll take it straight into committee. If you have anything you'd like to share with us before we go in for a decision.
No, I have nothing more to share.
Okay, thank you very much. Panel, fairly straightforward. Anyone have a motion? Mr. Reid, Dylan?
Yeah, this is very straightforward. It supports early learning and childcare, which is great. It's just a simple administrative rearrangement. So I move that we support it.
Okay. No, there is the Metro.
Oh, yes.
There's forestry number 1.
Yes, with forestry condition number 1.
And Metrolinx, this is just an advisory memo? Yeah. Okay. Motion to approve by Mr. Reid. Can I have a seconder? Mr. Gogan. All in favor? You have your approval, sir. Thank you very much. We move on to item number 14, 85 Crescent Road. This is an This is an application to alter the existing 2.5-story detached dwelling by constructing a rear 3-story addition with a rear covered ground floor terrace and a rear 3rd-story balcony. Committee has before it copy of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, revised site plan received January 17th, an arborist report, and presentation materials from the agent.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we only have the agent speaking on this file.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bronskill again.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Again, for the record, Mr. Bronskill, 333 Bay Street, Suite 3400, Toronto, Ontario. Sir, I should note for you just at the outset, I think part of the reason that there is no one speaking in opposition is our client did have a direct conversation with a neighbor. That's why there's a revised site plan that results in a reduced length and depth and then a corresponding reduction in the FSI. And I should, Mr. Chair, therefore just confirm those for you on the notice.
Thank you, please.
So that you can consider that. Yes, thank you. So FSI, what's proposed, and this, sir, is variant 2. You'll see that the proposal was for 1.01. The reduction in the length and depth has it down to 98.27%. And then in round brackets, it would be 381.69 square meters.
So just, sorry, David,
yes.
I just want to be clear, it was 0.9.
0.69. Yes, sorry, yes. Sorry, yes, I was doing the percentage as opposed to the FSI, yes.
So just for the record, just...
9827.
Okay, thank you.
And those numbers, if you need to see them, Mr. Chair, for staff, they are on the revised statistics in the presentation that was received by the committee on January 17th, but I'm just making sure I put them on the record as well. The length has, as I indicated, has been reduced. Variance 3, it's at 18.05. It would now be 18.44. And the depth is variance 4. It was 21.95. It's been reduced to 21.34. And page 2 of that presentation has been updated to include those reductions.
Okay, any further changes?
No, those are the 3. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Panel, do you need anything further on this application? Dylan?
I just want to confirm the side yard setbacks, those are existing conditions?
Sorry, Mr. Chair, do you mind repeating that question?
Sorry.
Apologies.
Yeah, sorry. The question is the variances regarding side yard setbacks, are those related to existing conditions? You're not actually changing the existing condition, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Thank you for the question. Through you, Mr. Chair. Page 2, the green line, hopefully is helpful in answering that question. It shows you the existing outline of the house and how the proposal then corresponds with that existing outline. It also explains the positioning of the house too, just for the committee's interest, in that it's not all the way at what would be the permitted front setback, but it's matching the location of the existing house. So it's actually pushed back a little bit, which, I mean, as you know, certain dimensions are actually measured from that front yard setback. And so that's why the depth variance might appear a little bit larger, even though the length of the house is 18.44, because that contributes to the depth. But yes, short answer to your question is it does match the existing.
Am I correct in that there's a 3rd-story balcony at the rear? Is that correct?
There is.
And are you going to do privacy screening for that on the sides?
I was just pulling up the plans through Mr. Chair. It's a 4 square meter balcony off the back. And I'm just also looking at the elevations in terms of they're not proposed currently in terms of the design. It's not a large balcony area. We're not opposed to them, although in terms of so for example, the 3D model just showing the back of the house at page 6 of the presentation, it is a nice clean design without them. That being said, if the committee had concerns about privacy from that smaller balcony area, obviously Mr. Wengel's office design good buildings, and I'm sure they could incorporate something.
Thank you.
And actually, through you, Mr. Chair, I'm just looking at the west and east elevations, and there is on those elevations at that third floor area what would appear to be modest privacy screens on both sides of that balcony.
Would you have a problem if we just put that as a condition?
No, I would not, having looked at those elevations, sir.
Okay, thank you.
So just to be clear, I'm looking at the east elevation, and it doesn't actually even show the balcony. It does on the west.
I think it's. Do you see that? Staff are being a very good Vanna White here. Do you see zooming in there?
Yeah, that's
I think
the
that's
west.
the privacy screen right there where the balcony would be.
That's the west, but
It's
if you go...
essentially a walkout.
Yeah, but if you go up to the east, the one
It's
up
there.
above it, the one up, that's the west elevation. Oh, mine doesn't, I have the east elevation. Is there revised plans? Yeah. My apologies. I'm looking at the original plans. I wasn't looking at revised.
Yeah, the January 24th plans. I did the same thing, Mr. Chair, as part of my rambling and stalling with the question. I got to these plans, and they're there.
Thank you.
So that's why I have no concern with the condition.
Sorry, that's my mistake. I apologize. Okay, we will go, any further questions? We will go into committee. Thoughts? Dylan?
Yeah, it seems pretty well thought out and reasonable to me. All the variations are, although they're either existing conditions or fairly minor. And obviously they've worked with the neighbors to make it acceptable, which I think is important. So I'm going to move that we approve it with a condition that there be privacy screening on the east and west sides of the third floor balcony.
Okay, thank you very much. Motion to approve by Mr. Reid.
As amended?
As
As
amended.
amended.
Oh yeah, sorry, as amended.
As amended. Do I have a seconder? The other Mr. Reid? All in favor? You have your approval, sir. Thank you very much. We move on to item number 15. 15 AIRLEY Crescent. This is an application to alter the existing one-story detached dwelling by constructing a complete second-story addition, rear two-story addition, and a rear ground floor concrete deck, and also to reconstruct the front porch. The committee has before a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, arborist report, and staff reports from urban forestry.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we only have the agent speaking for this file today.
Great, thank you very much. All right.
Hello, Eddie, you've been unmuted.
Hello, good morning, Chairman and committee members. Again, it's Eddie Perez from EKP Designs. We're proposing a very modest proposal. Variances are very minor in nature, and they meet the 4 tests. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, feel free to answer.
Thanks very much. Panel, any questions? We don't have any questions, so we will take, this one looks fairly straightforward. We'll take it into committee. Anyone in comments? Nellie?
I move a motion to approve it. And I think there are no conditions from any. There's a memo from urban forestry, but it's not a condition.
It's an advisory memo, yeah.
So,
okay.
straightforward.
Okay, motion from Ms. Volport to approve, seconder by Mr. Golgan. All in favor? You have your approval, sir. Thank you very much. We move on to item number 16, 89 Symington Avenue. This is an application to alter the existing two-story semi-detached dwelling by constructing a rear two-story addition, a partial third-story addition with a rear third-story deck and rear ground floor deck, and also to construct a two-story garden suite in the rear yard. Committee has before it a copy of plan, a survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 4 photographs of the site, tree site plan, correspondence from Metrolinx, staff reports from Urban Forestry and Community Planning. We have opposition letter from 91 Symington Avenue.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent online as well as the owner of 91 Symington Avenue. It shows that she will not be speaking, but I'd like just to check in to ensure that she doesn't want to speak. I mean, we do have her letter of opposition before us anyways, but I'd like to just double check to make sure we got it correct.
Hello, Angela Pang, you have been unmuted.
Hi, yes.
Hi, if you can give us your name and address, please.
Hi, I'm Angela Pang, owner of 91.
Okay, so are you planning to speak?
No.
No? Okay, thank you very much. If we could have the
Thank you.
agent then, please.
Hello, Joseph, you have been unmuted.
Yes, thank you. My name is Joseph Mazzatelli. I'm the agent at 608 Oriole Parkway, Toronto.
Okay, thank you, sir. It's a fairly detailed application. I wonder if you could, there's someone listening in opposition. I wonder if you could give us a presentation, please.
Yes, thank you. Just to begin, the owners wish to expand and renovate the house for their own family. They've lived there many years, so the additions would be for a growing family that they have. And to also to note that the city planner does not object, and there is one opposition, but the other neighbors do not object. The application is in 2 parts, so minor variances 1 and 2 relate to the house. And in this instance, we have a second and third floor addition, and the third floor is stepped back, so that it's not in any way obstructing or trying to minimize any obstruction. No one is really objecting about the house. The variances are minor, and the second variance for the length is only over by 1 foot, and that is only for the second story portion. So we hope that whatever the result today is that the owner wants to ask for approval for the house. The garden suite, we're prepared to make reductions. So if we can, we'd like to remove variances 4, 5, 6, and 7. And basically those are describing the variances for the second story roof structure. Now, even though it's 45 degrees on all sides, to minimize obstruction of sunlight, we still would like to remove that if we can. And in terms of variance number 3, there's no other objection about the setbacks of the garden suite. So we hope that you find this minor and support this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Just to be clear, so you're proposing to amend your application to remove variances 4, 5, 6, and 7?
Yes.
Does that, I know you're removing it, but does that change the height of your suite? Is it still at 6 meters?
No, it forces it to be reduced to 4 meters.
Oh, so is it still a 2-story?
No, at 4 meters, it can only be 1 story.
Okay, so we have to amend the purpose to say it's a 1-story garden suite.
Yes, please.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Panel, any questions? Okay. We don't appear to have any questions. We're going to take it into committee. Is there anything further you'd like to add?
Just that we hope for certain that you approve the house portion, and as I said, the garden suite was a secondary wish list item for the owners.
Yes, but you're proposing significant changes to it.
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, panel, let's go into committee. Thoughts, comments?
I'll give some thoughts. It
Paul?
sounds like the variances 1 and 2 seem minor in nature, and I think they're very supportable. It sounds like the only one remaining to the ancillary building is variance number 3, which is the setback as one to be located point.
Is your mic on, Paul?
Oh, yeah, it is, but I'm not speaking.
Okay.
0.61 from the rear east lot line. So that seems to be the only remaining element related to the ancillary building. If 4, 5, 6, and 7 drop off, and that seems to respond to the opposition, the letter of opposition that was provided. So I'd like to recommend we approve as amended, with the removal of 4, 5, 6, and 7, and forestry staff conditions.
Forestry number 2.
And the planning report.
Well, let's just be clear about the planning condition, because does the planning tie to plans contemplate the changes that the applicant has just brought forward? I don't think so.
Through you, Mr. Chair, it's for the 3rd floor plan of the main dwelling.
Okay, so it's not speaking to the ancillary?
No, it's not.
Okay. And we can still use the planning condition?
So, yeah, thank you for that.
All right, motion by Mr. Gogan to approve the application subject to Metrolink's forestry number 2 and the planning conditions that tie the principal dwelling to plans. Do I have a seconder?
Sorry, through you, Mr. Chair. It'll be the Metrolinx condition that refers to the warning clauses. I think it's the second one in the report.
Okay.
I just want to confirm, yes.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder to the motion? Mr. Reed, Dylan Reed. All in favor? All opposed? Ms. Volpert is opposed. The motion carries. You have your approval, sir. Thank you. Okay, we move on to item number 17, 344 Highfield Road. This is an application to convert the existing one-story semi-detached dwelling into a 3-unit dwelling by constructing a complete second-story addition, a rear 2-story addition, a front 2-story addition, a new front porch, and ground and second floor rear decks, and an exit staircase. Committee has before it a copy plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 4 photographs of the subject property, covering letter from the agent, email correspondence from the application technician, Committee of Adjustment to the agent, presentation materials from the agent, email correspondence from Metrolink, staff reports from Urban Forestry, 2 staff reports from Urban Forestry, correspondence in opposition from 342 Highfield Road.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent online. We do have the owners of 342 Highfield Road here in person to speak in opposition, and we do have the owner of 346 Highfield Road to speak in interest online.
Great, thank you very much. If we could have the agent, please.
Through the chair, my name is Nicole Hansen, Principal Planner of Hansen Planning and Development. My address is 381 Darley Heights.
Okay, you have 5 minutes to give us a presentation, please.
Good morning, committee. We are seeking relief from the bylaw for minor setbacks to support a permitted triplex on the lot through gentle density. Next slide, please. A semi-detached dwelling with a porch, deck, and shed currently reside on the lot. Next slide, please. The variants sought are minor in nature and don't impact the adjacent or surrounding lots. The first variance is for the north side setback of 0.39 meters and south side yard setback of 0.08 meters. Now these setbacks are existing because we're adding a second story onto the existing building footprint. It will have the same small projections in the interior side yards. The second variances are for the rear deck. The new ground and second floor deck encroach 0.18 meters into the rear yard and have a 0.98 meter setback from the north lot line and 0.64 meter setback from the south lot line. This is because we have to ensure the egress and the landing is up to the building code so it's safe. The city planner has no objection with the application. A privacy screen will be provided to the neighbor for 342 Highfield, and we're not digging 8 feet for a foundation wall. We only need to dig 4 feet and are considering prefabricated helical posts so the neighbor's fence is not touched at all. Next slide, please. Under Section 45 of the Planning Act, the Committee of Adjustment can be satisfied that the applicant is meeting the 4 tests. So the application is meeting the 4 tests. So the general intent and purpose of the city's official plan is maintained. The triplex satisfies the neighborhood designation. The general intent and purpose of the city's zoning bylaw is maintained. The property is zoned residential and will remain. This means that an official plan amendment and a zoning bylaw amendment is in fact not required. The proposal is appropriate for the development of land and/or building. The triplex is appropriate for both the neighborhood land use designation and the residential zone. And the variance is minor. The variance is requested for the permitted triplex, are minor in nature, and we are not seeking any land use permission changes. So no variances are being requested for FSI, height, length, or land use permissions, as 3 dwelling units are permitted as of right on all lots in Ontario under Bill 23, and up to 4 units are permitted as of right across all neighborhoods in Toronto based on Council's adopted official plan amendment under Bylaw 473-2023 and zoning bylaw amendment 474-2023, as we know, to alleviate the housing crisis in Toronto as a municipal and provincial planning priority. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Panel, any questions before we go to the other speakers? Okay. Why don't we?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'll.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Point of clarification. The notice says a 1-story semi-detached dwelling, but it really looks like it's 2 stories in the photos. I just want to understand the discrepancy.
So we were able to confirm with the building department that the actual building is a 1-story building. And so it's because we are going, the established grade is taken from a halfway point between the finished basement and the ground floor. So they did consider it to be a 1-story building.
So it looks like the property's, the grade, it slopes down towards the rear, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, through you, Mr. Chair, I'd like to call up the owners of 342 Highfield Road.
Hello. Good morning, sir.
Hi, my name's Dan McKinnon. I live at 342 Highfield Road. I'm going to make this short and sweet. I don't have anything to add today. I just have, I'm here today to answer any questions you guys have with my letter that I had wrote.
Okay. You are in the adjacent?
I'm in the we're semi-detached, connected to 344.
Okay. And maybe you could just remind us what your main concern is, if you would.
My main concern is, well, to the first variance would have been the side where he's going to continue his addition on the property line, which then affects us in many ways. Affects us, he's probably going to have to take down our fence. Our backyard is well landscaped, and it's solely on my property. It's not something that, you know, the neighbors that were there before, I asked them to build a new fence, and they were, no, I don't want to do that. So I chose to build my own fence to finish up my backyard to my way I want it. And then we have our hydro there that goes to, that it's mounted onto that fence, that goes to our office space in the back. And just like at the end of the day, like we're only in a small lot. It's 16 and a half feet wide. The structure that is going to be on that back area is going to be almost, you know, double the width of our lot. It's going to be very intrusive. So if it's, you know, just where it's supposed to be, 18 inches in, I would feel a lot more comfortable I'd feel more comfortable with accessibility to, working on his house if he needs. I don't want to be taking down my fence a second time because, a footing needs to be repaired. And, if it's going to be a pier style footing, I would assume that it's going to be at minimum a 16-inch diameter. So if you are 3.5 inches from the edge of the wall to the property line, that will have an effect on my property and will probably go into my property line. So at the end of the day, I know a bit about construction, so I just feel that there's going to be some problems, and it's just going to take away the pure ambience in my backyard. I just imagine just like being in a cubicle now. It's like I'm not really. I've been there for 20 years, and no one's done something this this big. I understand that the handcuffs are off for triplexes, while zoning's gone. Besides, we're here, I guess, for a few variances, but it just seems like it's just weird that we would be doing this type of stuff to a 1920s semi-bungalow that in Leslieville. I can understand if you had a standalone bungalow, it'd be completely different, but it's not. It's 4 feet code apart from each other on the property line, 2 and 2. That's normal. I would expect that kind of stuff. But and then with I'll just go back. I'm going to continue a little bit more with that deck in the back. That's not a minor variance. We're talking about 5 feet in setback. We're going they want to come 3 feet in, so it's 2 feet. And now when you stand in my back upper deck, where is my main floor of my house, you can see right in my kitchen. You see right into everything. The person on that second floor is second or third floor deck can just have pure shot right into my upper deck and everything. It's going to be very intrusive on my life compared to where I've been living for 20 years. And I also feel that it's this whole design is just too big for our lot size. There's not much space anymore. I'm never going to do this to my house. I've never had any intentions to turn my place into a triplex. So I just don't, it's very intrusive. It's a small lot, very small. So I guess, unless anyone has any questions for me, like I said, I don't really have much to add. It's all in my letter, and yeah, there we go.
Okay, thank you very much. So we will get the agent to respond to some of the things you've raised, but before that, panel, any questions? No, thank you very much for coming down.
All right, thank you.
Is there any other speaker?
To you, Mr. Chair, I am attempting to reach the other speaker. I'm calling them a second time now.
Okay, let's wait to see if we can reach him or her.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I can't appear to get a hold of them, and I've
We've
made
tried a
multiple
couple
attempts.
times? Okay, thank you very much. All right, we're unable to reach the other speaker that was registered, so we'll bring the agent back, please.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. So the actual lot area is 144 square meters and does support a triplex. We've worked with a few revisions, in terms of plan reiterations with the architect and structural engineer. And so from that, it is very clear that there will be no impacts to the neighbor's fence. And again, a privacy screen will be provided because these houses are close to each other. A letter of commitment is standard practice in our industry and will be provided to Dan in order to ensure that the fence won't be damaged. And if there are any damages, they will be repaired. Again, the setbacks are existing when we're looking at the north side yard setback of 0.39 meters and the south side yard setback of 0.08. So adding a second story addition on an existing footprint is of course going to make it have the exact same projection. So we are seeking variances for that. And as it relates to the landing, the encroachment is less than a foot, and the stairs have to be 1.8 meters, which is 6 feet under code, for the landing to have enough space. And so at this time, we have no other comments. As we're hoping committee would consider this and approve the application for a triplex that is already permitted in terms of the land use designation under the Planning Act. Thank you.
So I have one question. So is the primary egress and exit in the rear for those other units, or looks like the main floor you get there from the front? So what's the primary access for the units?
So the primary access for the units are supposed to be in the rear.
Okay, there is one front door though, right? So
Yes, there is one front door for the main floor. But for the additional 2 units, it would be, one was in the rear in the basement, and then one is for the main floor, and then one is for the second story, would be for the rear.
okay, but so those are those decks, or are those principally to be used to get in and out? It looks like there is a small landing area on each one, right?
Yes, there's a small landing area. So they can use it as a deck just to look out, or they can come down to the actual backyard. But the side doors for the basement and the front will be used for the upper unit. And the rear is only just for egress, just for clarification.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay.
Just had to pull up the other elevations here. Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. Panel, any questions?
You're welcome.
Nellie?
With regards to privacy concerns, will you be open to have privacy screens on, I think it's a first and second floor as a condition?
Okay.
Paul?
One question about the rear steps or deck structure. If you didn't have the additional landing space, would you even need the variance if you had the stair up?
No, we actually wouldn't.
So I think is that something, I'm not going to put words in the neighbor's mouth, but I think that it's kind of the scale of that structure that's outside the building that seems to be a bit large. Is that something that you've talked about, or whether or not reducing the kind of this mass and scale of that structure with the neighbor, or have you had any discussions about ways to minimize it?
We've already went through 3 plan reiterations, and thankfully only have 2 minor variances. But in terms of extending the back and supporting the addition, we do have to have a minimum gross floor area under the building code. And so this is the actual design that is fitting for the proposal to support a triplex and have enough space under the code. And so it's very modest. We were really focused on scale and massing and access as it relates to our site, but also the neighbor site and surrounding community. And quite a bit of research has been done on that. So this is the best proposal that we could have brought forward as, because we did do our zoning certificates, and this last rendition only provided the 2 variances. So
yeah, I wasn't suggesting that you reduce the interior area. I was asking if consideration was given to potentially reducing the exterior deck and stairs.
Yes, it has been given. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have connected with the owner at 346 Highfield Road, so we'd like to give her the opportunity to speak.
Okay.
So if there isn't any other questions of the applicant, then maybe we can move to this resident.
Hello, Mary Lou.
Hello.
Hi, if you could give us your name and address, please.
Yeah, Mary Liu, 346 Highfield Road.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. If you want to share your thoughts with us, please go ahead.
Yeah, the 344 Highfield Road will block my. There was a window on the south side of my property.
Okay.
Yeah, so that will block my sun. And I'm not for sure they will rebuild or they will build on current property.
Okay.
Sorry, I missed the first part. I'm working. I missed the first part.
No, I understand.
So if they dig the foundation, I just worry about will my structure will be damaged? Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my worries. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Let's
I'm
go.
the next door.
Yes.
Dan is the nearest. I'm the second one. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Maybe we'll go back to the agent and ask the agent to respond to those comments.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So in terms of facing the property for 346, if we can look back at the presentation, you will see that the interior side yards currently have no windows on that property at that side. And so the extension, we understand, will protrude back, but we can provide privacy screening. As it relates to the digging of the foundation, it will not affect either neighbors because the helical pile posts are prefabricated posts that go into the ground. So there's no foundation digging whatsoever. And this was recommended by our engineer in order to provide the structural support to the dwelling. So the new structure will actually be resting on those columns. The fence and the other neighbor's foundation will not be touched at all. And we're just hoping to work amicably with our neighbors so as we undertake construction to make sure that we ensure and communicate that obviously there'll be no adverse impacts or damages to their property. And so that's what we can say at this moment.
Okay, thank you very much. Panel, any additional questions or of the agent? Okay. All right, we will take it into committee. Anyone have any comments, thoughts? Peter?
Thanks, Chair. I have some comments. I think this is a supportable application, but I do want to acknowledge the concerns that the neighbors have. This is going to be a significant change to their experience of their backyards, right? This is a relatively large addition to the back with these stairs and balconies as well. But the variances required to get to this point are very small. So this is something that I do believe is put forward as a desirable thing within the zoning bylaw. I think with screening, that will go to some extent to address some of the overlook concerns from the neighbors, but I think just the pure minor nature of the variances being requested, staying within the side setbacks of the existing house, I feel that I must approve this.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Nellie?
I agree with Peter, but I would put the screening as a condition.
Yes.
Right, just to make it clear.
Okay, Peter, can we get a motion?
Sure, I'll move a motion to approve the application, subject to urban forestry condition 1 and 2, and the Metrolinx, the second condition, just the warning clause, and also a condition that there be north and south screening on the first and second story decks, privacy screening.
So I just want to be clear about the screening. there's decks and then there are stairs. So are you describing it in a way that captures everything that you want?
I would be inclined to just have it on the deck portion, I think, where people will be spending time rather than on the stairs. So whether that's balcony or deck, I would look to staff for what they would see as being the most clear definition there.
Through you, Mr. Chair. So the screening would go on each of the levels, right? Yes, and it would be for the deck portion.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. That way, the stair portion is open and it doesn't actually provide further massing for the neighbor. Okay. All right. Thank you. So we have a motion from Mr. Reid to approve, subject to those conditions. Do I have a seconder? Ms. Volpert, all in favor? You have your approval, sir. Thank you very much. We move on to item number 18, 67 Colin Avenue. And this is an application to construct a new 3-story detached dwelling with a front integrated garage, a front porch, a front bay window, a front second-story balcony, a rear basement walkout, a rear ground level deck, and a rear third-story balcony, and also to construct a front driveway. The committee has before it a copy of plan of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, arborist report, tree inventory, and tree preservation plan, staff report from Urban Forestry, correspondence of concern from 58 and 80 Colin Avenue, 47 Eastbourne, and 65 Colin Avenue, correspondence in opposition from 71 Colin Avenue.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have the agent online as well as one person here in interest and one person in interest online.
Great, thank you very much. We have the agent, please.
Hello, Nicole Parr, you have been unmuted.
Hello.
Through you, Mr. Chair, they are online and unmuted, but I will try and call them in.
Great, thank you.
Hello, Nicole. You are unmuted now on your phone.
Could I speak through the phone? Hello?
Hi.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I'm having trouble with my speaker. I really apologize.
No worries. If you could give us your name and address, please.
Of course. My name is Nicole Parr, and I'm at 22 Blue Forest Drive, Toronto, Ontario.
Great. Thanks very much. We have someone here who wants to speak in opposition, so we'll need a presentation, please.
Of course, I understand. So good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. So we designed this building to fit a family of 4 who will be living there as their primary residence. Before we started our design, we pulled a report of houses approved in the neighborhood and found that many had FSI close to or over 0.7 FSI, which is why we chose that number. Notably, 45 Colin was approved with 0.83 FSI. Existing conditions to many houses in the neighborhood have side yard setbacks at 0.9 meters, including the neighbor on the north at 71 Colin with 0.87 meters from the property line. The proposal is a 3-story building with a 3rd story to act as an entertainment area for the children. It adheres to height, length, front yard, rear yard setbacks, and landscaping. We did notice 5 letters of objection by neighbors, and my client went personally to each person's door to explain the application and try to resolve the issues. She was able to reach most, but wrote a letter and left it at the door of the ones she was not able to reach. I think just to go on some of the neighbors' concerns, I think it's important to note that the project will have shoring, which is intended to protect the neighbor's foundation and done wholly on the applicant's property. As well, there's a fence between the neighbors ensuring no construction will be on their property and no construction will impede their daily activity or safety. There will also be a construction fence as per bylaw requirements that will ensure all the construction activity doesn't go into the neighbor's property at all. There were some concerns about grading water runoff, but this will be dealt with an engineer's grading report that has to propose a plan where the water runoff completely stays on the applicant's property and drains properly without touching the neighbor's property. I did note there was some discussion in the letters about our chimney. I've spoken with my client and they're happy to remove it. We can make that a condition. As well, my client has agreed to build a privacy screen over the balcony to help mitigate any privacy concerns. To be clear, it's a 4 square meter balcony. We're not asking any variance associated with it, and it is set into the home, into the roof line. It does not project out, but we're happy to have a privacy screen as a condition. In summary, we're asking for 2 variances today that are in character with the approvals in the area, and I believe are minor in nature. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I just ask, so if you're removing your chimney, does that affect variance number 2, the side yard setback?
It does not. The chimney is an allowable encroachment.
Okay. Thank you. Panel, any questions?
Thank you.
Dylan?
I just wanted to understand, you're basically asking for an extra foot on the north side. I'm wondering why you feel that that's necessary for this new build.
We find that it's in plan with the houses in the neighborhood, and we needed an extra foot just to make the livable spaces inside a little bit more comfortable.
Okay. Anyone else? Nellie?
Just to reiterate, the 3rd floor balcony, did you mention that you are going to install privacy screens?
That's correct. We're happy to do that as a condition on both sides.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anything further before we invite our guest up?
Sure, we can call up Neil David Fraser.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good. It is afternoon.
Just barely. Can we have your name and address, please?
Yeah, I'm Neil Fraser. I'm on 65 Colin Avenue. I've lived there for 20 years, and we're immediately south of this proposed structure.
Okay. You have 5 minutes, sir.
Thank you. First of all, I just wanted to highlight we really welcome these new neighbors. They've been very friendly and very accommodating, and so we're not objecting to the project, nor are we really relating to the variances. They don't affect us, at least not directly. The concerns that we wanted to voice may have been addressed. We talked about the 3rd story balcony and just concern about privacy because we use our backyard a lot and it would be directly overlooking. So we would like some kind of a permanent privacy barrier on that 3rd story balcony. Secondly, just a bit of concern about how close the house will be to our house. And we do have 2 north north wall basement windows or window boxes. So just concern about the loss of natural light. We also have windows in our living room, which directly is on the north wall as well. So not sure what you do to mitigate. And I realize this is not a variance, so it's just a concern. Also concerned about the foundation, and I'm not knowledgeable about foundation engineering, but just we know people who have had structures that caused shifting and cracking of foundations. So we would just hope that all diligence would apply to the digging and construction as it relates to the new structure. And then just finally, we need to have access to that side of the house because we have an air conditioner and power sources there. So as long as that's maintained on the north side, then we're happy. So that's all I have today, and thank you for your attention.
Great. Thank you very much for coming down. Panel, any questions? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
We'll get the agent back to hopefully respond to some of your thoughts.
Through you, Mr. Chair, the participant from 71 Colin wasn't able to come today, so Nicole, you have been unmuted.
Thank you very much. Ms. Parr.
Hello?
Oh, hello.
Hi. Sorry about that again. So thank you, sir, for your comments. We appreciate it. I'd like to note that this is one of the neighbors that my client spoke with personally, and they did let us know that they had privacy concerns, which is one of the reasons why we have agreed to build a privacy screen on both sides of our balcony to help aid the client, help aid the neighbor. As well, they're concerned about foundation. I've touched on that in my original speech. We will be doing shoring at this property, and that's going to protect the neighbor's foundation, so there's no concern about that. We are asking for 30 centimeters. Even at 1.2 meters, the light in the basement would be impeded a little bit, but that's just the nature of construction, I would say. In terms of his access to his to his side yard, there's a fence there. We will not be going into the neighbor's property at all whatsoever. He'll have full access to the side yard as he always has and as he's enjoyed.
Okay. Thank you very much. Panel, any questions, Dylan?
Yeah, I was wondering, we have a letter of opposition from the neighbor to the north. I was wondering if you had talked to them at all.
So we tried to, my client went 2 times to try to speak to Miss Furrow, I believe her name is, and she was not able to reach her. So what she did was she wrote a lengthy letter and put it under the door of Miss Furrow's house. So hopefully she received it, just explaining some of the details that I presented today and asking for her to have a meeting to discuss her concerns.
And she was registered to speak, but we've been unable to contact her.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Okay. We'll take it into committee. Anyone have any thoughts? Want to start? Dylan?
Yeah, given that this is a new build, I'm not that sympathetic to the side yard variance. I feel like there's a lot of space here to build a substantial house, and I'm happy for them to have the big FSI, but I feel like there's a lot of space for them to build a house without actually encroaching more into the side yard. I realize that the northern neighbor already has a variance, but that's a long-standing one. This is a new build. I feel like if you're doing a new build, it should be possible to do a new build with 1 foot less of build to actually fit the zoning. So I'll be happy to support variance 1, but not variance 2.
Okay. Anyone else? Paul?
When I look at it, the project in its entirety, its relationships to its neighbors, it looks like it fits in with the neighborhood. The variances, plus or minus a foot, it does seem minor in nature, but more importantly is that the concerns of 65 and 71 are addressed with regard to access to their property, privacy. I think the privacy issue has been addressed with the provision of screening for the walkout. And I also think that the fact that the neighbor seems to have been proactive in engaging with the neighbors, even though maybe not successful with number 71. So I find both the proposal minor in nature, and I would support it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Peter?
Thanks, Chair. I think, no, I understand the concerns of my member, but I agree with Paul. I think the incremental impact of that additional foot is minor from my perspective. So from that sense, I support the application as well.
There was a discussion, and I'm not sure how we left it, about removing the chimney, which does speak a little bit to that side yard setback, even though it's not a provision. I wondered whether anyone has any thoughts on that. Peter?
I think that's on the other side in terms of where.
It's on the north side.
Sorry, the north.
Yeah.
Pardon me, yeah.
71,
That's the one I think the neighbor's concerned about access. So I'm in your hands as to whether you think that's a good idea to do that or not.
It seems like the applicant's willing to make the concession and
Okay.
proceed with the
So
chimney.
we can make it a condition if you like.
Like a condition that would be acceptable.
Okay. Might address a little bit of Dylan's concern. Okay, I'll look for a motion. Paul, do you want to?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the proposal with the condition on the removal of the chimney, with the provision of privacy screening on the rear walkout, and also based upon forestry.
So you're talking about the third-story balcony?
Third-story walkout.
Okay.
Thank you. And then forestry condition 2?
And this is on the north and south sides of the balcony? Okay. So we have a motion to approve from Mr. Gogan with those conditions. Do I have a seconder? Mr. Reed, all in favor? Okay. Those opposed? Dylan Reed is opposed, so that motion carries. You have your approval, sir. Thank you very much. All right. I think we're done the morning. We are done the morning's agenda, so we will stop here and return at 2 o'clock for the remaining items in the afternoon. Okay? Thank you all. Thank you for coming down, sir.
We can turn off our cameras. And mute our laptops, please.